Expectations are complicated. For some, they can be positive, as they help motivate, excite, and bring the best out of you. For others, expectations can be extremely harmful and toxic to one's mental state. There is no one in anime who feels the toxic effects of expectations more than Re:Zero's main character, Natsuki Subaru. Expectations are formed based on three things: our imagination, those around us, and our past experiences. Subaru's expectations are no exception to this. We can see this from the moment that Subaru comes to Re:Zero's world. Right off the bat, Subaru expects his experience in a parallel world to match what he's experienced through anime and games, where the main characters of those stories typically have hidden talent and become very overpowered, are the chosen hero of their new world, and get all of the ladies. Unlike other isekai main characters, Subaru is no different from your average shut-in. He has no special talent, he is very weak, and has never felt the touch of a woman before. However, Subaru did receive one power when he got isekai'd: the ability to return by death, allowing Subaru to return to a predetermined checkpoint upon death, to correct any mistakes he made. You would think that Subaru would quickly come to terms with his lack of power and talent, right? Well, he doesn't. For most of Season 1, Subaru is convinced he is him, and that he's got the dog in him. He'll save Emilia, Rem, and everyone that he cares about. Subaru lets his expectations of being the heroic isekai protagonist affect his relationships, the perfect example being his relationship with Emilia. Subaru ignores the fact that he isn't that hero and the world doesn't revolve around him, and as a result of these false expectations of himself, Subaru continues to force himself into Emilia's affairs and ignores her feelings and wishes. If that wasn't bad enough, Subaru's behavior and unrealistic expectations are reinforced by those around him. Return by death is a double-edged sword. While it allows Subaru to go back and save the ones that he cares about, it comes with some drastic consequences. Outside of Subaru having to continue to experience the feeling of dying over and over again, it resets everyone else's memories every time that Subaru loops. No one outside of Subaru knows about his mistakes and countless failed loops. To everyone else, Subaru seems like a genius and does not know the meaning of defeat. But we, the audience, know that is far from the truth. Imagine that you're in Subaru's shoes for a second. You are faced with saving people that you love and care about from being murked from a demonic whale, a dangerous cult, and from human-eating rabbits. All of these people hail you as a great hero and expect you to save the day. If you fuck up, you'll watch everyone that you love and care about die over and over again. Then you will die as a result of your failure, which brings you back to square one. You are starting to run out of options, the walls are closing in, the corpses are piling, the expectations are crushing you. You are powerless to save them, you are powerless to save yourself, you can't do anything, you can't protect anyone. You are a fraud, you are worthless, why can't you do anything right? Why can't you save them all? You've tried everything, nothing is working, what can you possibly do? Why does this have to happen to you? Why can't you be free? Why are you so useless? This is just a glimpse of what Subaru has to go through, and the worst part is, the more that time passes, the more feats that Subaru completes, his reputation as a hero will continue to grow. More and more people will expect Subaru to save the day and expect more out of him. How can Subaru ever live up to such unrealistic expectations? Unfortunately, it's impossible for Subaru to ever live up to these expectations placed upon him. He is quite literally just a human. History repeats itself. We see that Subaru is no stranger when it comes to having unrealistic expectations placed upon him. In Season 2, we get a glimpse into his life in Japan. As a child, Subaru idolized his father, who was a highly respected and beloved man in his community. His father was talented in everything that he did, loved his family, and had a lot of charisma. Subaru wanted to live up to his expectations of being his father's son and worked hard in everything given to him. Subaru was performing well in school and coming first in many competitions, and always being told that's to be expected as he is just like his father. Eventually, Subaru's high expectations of himself came crashing down in middle school, when he was slapped with a dose of reality. Subaru started to get overshadowed by his peers, who were getting much smarter and more capable than he was, in the same amount of time or less. This led to Subaru isolating himself from others as he felt deep shame of letting down his amazing parents and the expectations of other people around him. When one has extremely high or unrealistic expectations of themselves, it's a sign of an ego problem. I don't think I need to tell you that Subaru has an ego problem. I mean, look no further than his actions at the Capitol. For Subaru, his ego is like a house of glass. It is very fragile. If a stone were to be thrown at it, it would shatter or fall apart entirely. Subaru's ego at this time held on to the fact that he was the amazing isekai protagonist who can save everyone and be the best. Every loop he failed, every person that died to the witch cult, was another stone thrown at Subaru's house of glass. Subaru's breaking point comes in Season 1, Episode 18. Subaru's ego is at an all-time low. He has given up entirely on being able to save Emilia and the others. He has failed at being a hero. He can't live up to any of the expectations placed upon him. History was repeating itself again. Subaru never came to terms with dealing with expectations in a healthy way. And not only did he have a lot of expectations, but people's lives were now at play. The world that Subaru was summoned to was telling him that he was weak and unable to protect the ones that he cared about. Of course, Subaru would default back to running away from his problems. It was his only way of coping with them. It makes sense why Subaru wanted to run away with Rem. At this point, it was the only way to salvage what little was left of his ego. He failed everyone's expectations. No one believed in him. He can't save everyone. He is a failure. Subaru hates himself. At least that's what he thought. At Subaru's lowest moment, a ray of hope cut through his darkest clouds. Rem confesses her love to Subaru, her hero, and tells him how awesome and heroic he really is. He is Rem's one and only hero. Rem's words here saved Subaru and renewed his determination to save Emilia and the others. In Subaru's eyes, for once, someone loves him for who he is, even after seeing the worst parts of him. Despite failing so many times, he was able to save someone and live up to being the hero he thought he would be after getting isekai'd. Subaru was able to admit to himself that he was being arrogant for pushing his wishes and feelings onto Emilia and being able to save her all by himself. Thanks to Rem, he understands that it's okay to not be perfect and to share the burden with others, and that he can start again from zero. I believe the majority of people who watch this episode believe that this was a good thing for Subaru. Unfortunately, I think this is just a short-term solution and will cause problems down the line for Subaru. Going back to the example of Subaru's ego being a house of glass, when the house inevitably shatters, you are faced with two options. Either you rebuild the house the exact same way, or you decide to move on and become humbled. At this moment, Subaru decided to rebuild the house of glass. Not in the exact same way, of course. This time, instead of being the great isekai hero who will save everyone and live up to their expectations, Subaru vows to become the most awesome hero ever. If you think about it, Subaru's problem of unrealistic expectations never actually got addressed here. Yes, I do agree that Subaru did get humbled a bit here, but after having one of his unrealistic expectations, that being a hero, being fulfilled by Rem confessing that he is her one and only hero. Because of that, Subaru rebuilt the House of Glass once more. You can see the effects of this as soon as the start of Season 2. On Rem's bed, Subaru vows that as her hero, he will wake her up. But the second Emilia starts struggling to solve the trials in the sanctuary, the mansion is under attack and the Great Rabbit will kill everyone in the sanctuary. What is Subaru's first response? Does Subaru try to comfort Emilia, hear her out, and tell her that he believes that she will be able to conquer all of the trials? No. Subaru's hero complex kicks in. He is willing to do all of the trials, brute force the loops until he can save everyone. It's not until Echidna removes his ability to take the trials and Roswell has completely cornered him that Subaru decides to share his burdens with Otto and Rom, and finally believe and support Emilia, trusting her to solve the trials of the sanctuary. The problem here is that Subaru still hasn't fully come to terms with his unrealistic expectations. He only believed in Emilia being able to solve the trials once he was cornered and he literally wasn't able to do the trials all by himself. On top of this, Subaru's expectations as a hero have gotten even higher. Due to officially becoming Emilia's knight and Roswell threatening him, if he failed to save anyone that he cares about, Roswell will kill everyone he loves, forcing Subaru to return by death. I'm not saying that all of this is Subaru's fault. At this point, most of Subaru's expectations are coming from those around him, due to his feats thanks to return by death. I'm not sure what Subaru can do to deal with his unrealistic expectations in a healthy way. As the story continues to progress, Subaru will have to save everyone, as he manages to do so while suffering greatly. The crushing weight of his expectations will continue to grow heavier and heavier. Only time will tell if Subaru will be able to free himself from his expectations. whether that be seeing them to the end and finding that happy ending for everyone, or failing to do so and dying a sad, painful, and permanent death.